Hey folks, Victor Antonio here. If you've never seen me before, well, this will be your first time. If you have seen me before, how you doing? Do your thing, right? So I put together some notes for your meeting, and these are some notes I put together on how to create a sales or lead generation process. Alec then asked me to create a small video, 5 to 10 minutes, to kind of go over what I've included in the notes, and that's what this video is all about. So I got 5 or 10 minutes, so I have to go quickly, but all the information is in the notes, so you should have the notes. All right. Again, the title of this video should be titled Lead Generation. And I want you to get the right mindset. When we're looking for leads, we're typically, now I'm talking offline, not online, I'm talking offline. That's what I'm focused on. Typically we can go to a house event, right? Somebody's party, we meet people there. Social event could be a social gathering, could be, I don't know, a little craft fair down at Main Street, right? And then a networking event could be a more formal networking event where for business owners and entrepreneurs and so forth, right? These are called pools, places that I can go fishing for new customers to drive your business, right? Now, when I go to any of these events, what I want you to start thinking about, what is the objective? When I go to any of these events, what do I want? When I talk to somebody, right, go up to somebody, just, hey, how you doing? And we'll talk about how you want to introduce yourself. But what's the objective? Well, the objective is simply to get them to go to an opportunity meeting. That's what I want you to have in your head, okay? That's what this video module is about. How do you get them to go to an opportunity meeting? And also, as I'm having the conversation with the person, I want to understand what are their drivers. Now, what do I mean by drivers? Before I get into those three things that I'm going to call drivers, let me explain one more time what this video is about. I want to give you a process, a system, because sometimes we get frustrated we can't sell because we just don't have a process, a system. We're always guessing at selling. I don't want you to guess at selling. I want you to create your own process. And again, you don't have to use my process, but maybe some of the ideas I give you can be incorporated into your process, okay? There's no right process. Every process is different. Now, within this process, what I want to do is walk you through basic steps that I would use if I were selling Plexus. With me? So the first thing I want to talk about is basically where do I get the leads, right? Once I know where do I get the leads, what's my objective? Okay, the objective is to get them to go to an opportunity meeting. But I also want to understand what are their drivers. What do I mean by drivers? What do I mean by drivers? Break out your notes right now, and you'll see that step one, I said you have to have a sales approach. And there's 3 approaches to a customer in this case. 1, wellness. Maybe when you're talking to that person, the real driver, the real motivation from them wanting to get involved with Plexus may be a wellness aspect. In other words, they're suffering from some type of illness. It could be diabetes, fibromyalgia, whatever it may be, that you may be able to help them with your products. Or maybe they know somebody who is suffering from these symptoms. So maybe they're interested in the wellness aspect of Plexus. Or they could be into weight, right? Maybe they're just trying to get down some pounds, right? So they're trying to lose weight, and maybe that's what's really driving them. That's their motivation. How do I just get down on weight? So again, we're going to talk about what questions you ask to find out which of these drivers is their prime motivation or prime driver. The third one is wealth. Maybe as you're talking to this individual at one of these social events, you'll realize that really their motivation is making more money. They want to make more money either with second income or just have a simple income and maybe just stay at home. Maybe they have kids. And again, they just want to generate one income. So, step 2. Now that we know what the 3 prime drivers are, again, we're talking weight, wellness, and wealth, okay? Record those 3. Whatever order is easy for you, do it that way. Wellness, weight, and wealth, okay? Those are the 3 drivers that people will have for your products. Now, we're at a social event, obviously. We're going to start asking questions. Now, step number 2, I said create a simple product grid. What do I mean by that? I want you to look at the wellness aspect of what Plexus has to offer. It says, what are the top 3 products you would like to promote that you really feel will connect with your market, with people you talk to? Then look at weight. What 2 or 3 products do you think will connect almost immediately with people you talk to? Last but not least, when we look at wealth, how would you explain the wealth opportunity that Plexus has to offer? Because maybe these people are fit. They're healthy, they're fit, so both wellness and weight isn't an issue, so maybe it's about wealth. So what would you talk about? How would you position or talk about Plexus from a wealth perspective? Now, this is important because if you don't know your products, you're going to suffer during your presentation as you're talking to people. So again, you've got to know your products, right? Now, if you know your products and you also know the opportunities to talk about the wealth opportunity with Plexus, great, you're ready, okay? Mentally, you're ready to go to these social events. Now, notice on step 3, I said know your products again, the big emphasis. Because what I want you to do is really do some role playing. Here's where I would recommend strongly is to sit down with somebody in your upline or somebody who's been around for a bit and really understands these products, right? Can talk about wellness, can talk about weight, can talk about the wealth opportunity of Plexus. What I want you to do is basically sit down one-on-one and then do role playing. To me, role playing is so key, so essential. It feels weird at the beginning, it feels uncomfortable actually when you start doing it, kind of stupid, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel good because it's all fake, right? But what happens is you get into a rhythm when you're doing role playing, but you also start figuring out what you don't know. That's why it's always good to role play with somebody who really knows the products or really knows how to position the wealth opportunity when it comes to Plexus. So role playing is important, okay? Now, if you've done this, if you understand what the drivers are, you got 3 drivers, in other words, 3 market segments you're going to go after: wellness, weight, and what? Wealth, right? So now that you know that those are my 3 drivers, I'm looking for those 3 drivers. For each of those 3 drivers, I know the product, what product I would push, or how I present the wealth opportunity. Now, I've done the role play, so now I should feel comfortable with talking about the products for wellness or weight, or talking about the wealth opportunity when it comes to Plexus. Now, you should have a certain level of confidence before you go to any of these social events, okay? You'll feel comfortable. Now, again, this is all preparation. What I'd like you to do right now is ask yourself, what questions would I ask an individual during a conversation to qualify which of the 3 drivers they're more interested in? Which of the 3 are more motivating for that person? In other words, do you think they're more motivated by wellness, weight, or wealth? So what questions would you ask? For example, for wellness, maybe as you're having a conversation, you ask questions about their health. You'll find a gentle way of doing that. Again, that's why role playing is important. You find different ways of asking questions. How about weight? Sometimes, you can just ask for weight might be easier because, do you work out? How often do you work out? How's that been working for you? These are questions you can ask to qualify, and then to see if they're all about the weight, trying to get down. Because then you might say something like, are you happy with the results that you're getting? Well, that's a great question, isn't it? When somebody's working out a lot, you ask them, are you happy with the results you're getting? And if they say no, there's an opportunity to maybe come in on the weight angle. Maybe that's one of their drivers. When you look at, let's say, wealth opportunities, you ask the person, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? Is that a decent paying job? Again, find a gentle way of asking about that. Do you like what you're doing? And what you're basically asking or trying to figure out is, are they happy with where they're at, and are they happy with the money they're making? Or maybe you'll take the family angle on the wealth opportunity and say, how many kids do you have, right? And they'll tell you they have 2 or 3 kids, and you talk to them about the kids. How old are they? You start getting an idea of the range of age. And then maybe you find a way to segue into the cost of college. Did you know college expenses today, typically for a kid, could be somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000? They probably said, no, I didn't know that. I said, you got 3 kids, how do you think you would, what's your financial strategy for being able to pay for that without having to go into debt? Great questions, right? And if they say, I don't know. Well, again, maybe wealth is the main driver. Maybe that's what's going to motivate them more to want to get involved with Plexus. Get the idea? All I'm doing is asking questions to see which one is the bigger motivator. All 3 may be in play, or maybe just one. It depends on the person. But is it about wellness? If they're physically fit, they're going to say no. If their weight's down, it's not about weight, but maybe it's a wealth opportunity, right? Get the idea? What questions would you ask? Again, go back to role playing, and again, ask these questions during role playing. I'm telling you, it'll feel awkward at the beginning, but it'll feel comfortable as you move through it, and you'll love it after a while. All right, step 5. You still haven't presented. This is all prep. Before you present to anybody, I want you to imagine for a moment, you're at a networking event, right? You're talking to the individual, right? And let's say that through the questioning process we just went through, you realize that maybe this is a wealth opportunity. In other words, the person is physically fit, weight's in check, but they're not happy with their job, or they're not making enough money to what? Maybe pay for their kids' education, right? Down the road, as we mentioned. So maybe at this point you really want to start what? Maneuvering, so to speak, really trying to get into where they're going. So let's say that it's about wealth. What I would then do is after you've asked a bunch of questions, eventually they're going to turn it around on you. They're going to say, well, what do you do, Victor? And then you're going to say, here's what I do. I'm involved with this company called Plexus. Now, here's where you have to block objections. Because as soon as you say something like network marketing to people, what typically happens, right? Shields up, Scotty. Your eyes like, I'm nervous. I don't know, I've heard about it. It's like a pyramid scheme, right? It's something like that. I don't know about that. So what you want to do is block the objections. Now, I have a video series online on how to block objections. Now, listen carefully. if some person raises an objection, is that a pyramid scheme? Because they raise that objection, they're less likely to change their mind about that, okay? And so you'll try to overcome it, and most of the time you're going to fail. So what you want to do is block the objection. How do you block an objection? You raise the objection before they do. Because if you raise it, you control it. And again, I got a video series on YouTube called Blocking Objections. I strongly suggest you go through that series, a very quick video series. So what you want to do is, what would be the 3 objections that each category would have? For example, step number 5. When I look at wellness, what would be 3 objections people would have for not wanting to get involved with this product, right? Or not wanting to use the product. When I look at weight, what would be 3 reasons people wouldn't want to use our weight product? You know, I've tried that before, you know, it's never worked for me in the past. Why is this any different? These are objections, right? Or on wealth, you know, maybe somebody, again, tried network marketing, they'll say something, I tried it before, it didn't work for me. Is that a pyramid scheme? Or, you know, I'm not good at selling, right? These are things people can say, objections they'll have for not wanting to get involved. So what I would do is during my conversation, now that they've asked me, Victor, what do you do? Well, I'll say, you know, I work with Plexus, you know, making this up. I work with Plexus and, you know, here's what I do and here's how I got involved. And then during that conversation, I would say something like this. Let's say I realize that they're more about the wealth opportunity. They really want to make extra money because they're physically fit, they're good to go, no weight problem. So I'm thinking wealth is a good angle. So what I would then say during my conversation, I said, here's what I'm doing with Plexus. It's a network marketing company. And then I would raise the objection. Now, when people hear the word network marketing company, this is coming out of my mouth now, they think immediately pyramid scheme, but they totally misunderstand what this is all about. And then I would explain it. And then as I'm talking a little more, explaining it, I would bring up selling. Yeah, and again, when I got involved, I thought to myself, you had to be a great salesperson in order to sell. I said, what I realized is that you don't really have to be a great salesperson because it's not about selling, it's really about sharing. Okay, see how I raised the objection and just kind of dismissed it at the same time. Now, many people have tried this in the past, and you know, one of the things I often hear is that they failed at it. And maybe that's because they didn't have the right support structure. You know, what I found working with them, with Plexus, is this, that there is support structure and they walk you through the process, right? You get the idea, you see what I'm doing? I'm raising objections and then dismissing them, but casually during a conversation. Now, once I've done that, once I know how to do that, once I know how to block objections, you know, again, we know what the outcome is, right? That's step number 6. Now, there's several outcomes you can go for. One is that you want to sell them on the spot, right? Get them to sign up on the spot. The other one is to set up a one-on-one meeting, which is what this video is about, or rather a one-on-one meeting that you'll meet them at lunch, by mistake. And then the third one now is what we're talking about, to attend a opportunity meeting. So again, let me repeat it to be clear. Maybe you want to sell them on the spot. Tough sometimes, right? Or you want to set up a one-on-one meeting, maybe take them out to lunch and then really have a one-on-one chat with them. Or the third is you want to attend an opportunity, want them to attend an opportunity meeting. Get the idea? So understand what you're trying to accomplish. Again, you've got to know this before you go in to any social event, okay? Don't just go in there, you know, ad hoc, guessing, okay? If you have a plan, you're going to be less frustrated with your outcome because you know what you're doing. It's all about refining the process. And listen carefully. Once you have this little system of yours in place, and again, you'll adapt it to your style because you don't have to use my words or phrasings. So what you do is you adapt this phrasing, the system rather, and what's going to happen is you're going to feel comfortable after a while. And again, just like the stick shift example, it's going to become very easy. Now, step 7 is putting it all together, right? So I created a whole scenario that you can walk through here. I'm not going to do it because I'm running out of time probably. I had to keep this short. But I put together one scenario for you. Read through that scenario and start getting an idea how this would actually flow. But the key message of this whole presentation, this whole video is you have to know how to qualify a client. In other words, a prospect. In other words, are they interested in weight, wellness, or wealth? Which one? How do I do that? By asking the right questions. Again, ask the right questions. I can identify who I'm talking to, what's their prime motivator or driver. But I also have to know my products. I really have to know what top 3 products would I sell if it's about wellness, if that's their driver. It's about weight, what 3 products would I want to promote? If it's that, if it's a wealth opportunity, how would I begin to position that? Get the idea? Now you're going to practice this presentation through role playing. I talked about that already, all right? One-on-one role playing. You're also going to learn how to block objections, how to raise the objections, to block them, to reduce the prospect's resistance. And again, at the end of the day, it's really about getting them to attend an opportunity meeting. Now, I apologize for going through this video very quickly, but I have limited time. I'll post this video after your meeting online, and I'll also post a link to the notes in case you don't have them. Thank you again. This is Victor Antonio reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.